Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker marks as the final film of the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about this movie that a lot of people are very concerned about is, of course, exactly what J.J. Abrams did in order to really end the Skywalker saga, specifically the very end of the movie, and exactly what's going to happen to characters like Kylo Ren, Rey, even Leia, for example, and even Lando Calrissian, some of the legacy characters like Chewbacca. You know, a lot of people are very concerned about what's going to happen to these characters. Are they going to live a happy life after this, or are they going to perish at the very end of the movie? Now, all thanks to an interview over at Star Wars Celebration a couple of days ago, we learned a little bit more about George Lucas and his place in all of this. And what's really intriguing is what J.J. Abrams had to say over at Celebration and a whole lot of other things related to George Lucas for Episode 9. So what's really intriguing is that this is what was said. I feel that the story we told, the goal for this movie, the job was to end not just this trilogy and just to make a standalone film. Of course, it needs to work in that way too, but to end 9 films, 3 trilogies, and so the job was to look at all of them, including The Last Jedi, and ask ourselves, what is the inevitability? Where is this going? There have been a lot of ideas since the beginning, since George Lucas first came up with all of this, of where things could go in the last film. We had a meeting with him before we even wrote the script about the rise of Skywalker. So that's what JJ had to say about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is that not only was George Lucas involved in some of the creative decisions in this movie while writing the script and even while shooting the movie, and not only that, he was also involved in some scenes where he got to direct a couple of scenes involving Luke, Kylo Ren, and Rey. But to really top it all off, what was revealed just not too long ago is that they actually had a meeting with George Lucas before they even wrote the script for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. And that, to me, I think is pretty incredible. It tells us how involved George Lucas really is with this movie, and exactly how much inspiration, JJ is really taking from George and applying that to this story that's really gonna kind of just end the entire Skywalker saga and wrap everything up. And you can only imagine why JJ would really need some help from George Lucas and why he would even want to talk with George. I mean, it's just a respectful thing to do firsthand, right? George Lucas is the man who created Star Wars back in 1977. If it weren't for Lucas, we wouldn't have Star Wars today in any way, shape, or form. Whether you're into movies or Star Wars Rebels or the toys and stuff like that, you wouldn't have any of that if it weren't for George. And that was a very respectful thing for George, or should I say for JJ to do, to approach George for this movie, as well as everybody else involved with Episode 9, to have him pretty much connected to this movie in a significant way. And the fact that he also had a, big part in deciding on exactly how Palpatine should return in The Rise of Skywalker, I think is yet another great thing about this film that a lot of fans are looking forward to. So I think that's one of the reasons as to why the teaser trailer is so powerful, is because I think that a lot of the decisions in those shots and how it was edited most certainly was decided by George Lucas, without a doubt. We've seen him on set for The Mandalorian many times. We know that he was involved in The Mandalorian as well for different episodes here and there. So without a doubt that he was also involved with the teaser trailer for Star Wars Episode 9. And when we look at that teaser, I've said this before, it really feels like Star Wars. If you look at The Last Jedi's teaser, it's just a completely different story, at least in my point of view. I don't know if you guys agree, but when I look at The Last Jedi's first teaser trailer back in April of 2017, and then I look at this teaser, I gotta say, there's a huge difference. You can really tell the difference between the tone of the movies and exactly how they really feel within the Star Wars universe. So to have George Lucas back on board for this movie, not only did he direct a couple of scenes, and not only did JJ and Kathleen Kennedy consult with George, but George was also involved with this story well before the script was even written. And that to me speaks volumes, and it tells us, how rich the story could really be and the potential of this movie to end the Skywalker saga. And as JJ has pointed out numerous times, this movie isn't just a movie to end the sequel trilogy. This is a movie that's actually going to end all 9 films, meaning you're going to get a lot of callbacks to episodes 1 through 8. you know, you're going to get a lot of callbacks there, whether it's, you know, a little nod to, let's say, for example, the Tantive from the original trilogy. By the way, that's going to be in episode 9. I don't know if you guys saw the BTS reel, but the Tantive is back in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. So that's just one big example there. And not to mention the Death Star 2 at the very end of the teaser. The possibilities are endless of what George Lucas, you know, pretty much told J.J. Abrams to insert into this movie, as well as J.J. borrowing a lot of elements from Ralph McQuarrie. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.